Hey, it's CJ. So, in honor of Carson Wentz getting locked in a gas station bathroom, well, that's not the real reason why I'm making this video, but regardless, I've been wanting to talk about the trade up, as an Eagles fan, that the Eagles made up to number 2 from number 8. Did I like the trade? Did I feel like they were mortgaging the future by making this trade? Or did I think, this could be our franchise quarterback that we've been missing since Donovan McNabb? What did I think? What did I want? Was I thrilled? Was I really angry? Was I concerned? Frightened? Confused? Here's the real answer. I was pretty darn happy. I would have been happy to get either one, but after watching the film and watching Carson Wentz's wonderful drive in his last championship win with North Dakota State, okay, all right. Watching a couple clips of a guy in his prime in a championship game, yeah, that shouldn't sway you. Okay, I hear you. You already said it. You're right. But it was more than that. It's a number of things. So let's start off at the top. Looking at all the picks and all the players the Eagles lost in order to make this trade. They lost DeMarco Murray. DeMarco didn't want to be here. DeMarco, whatever. DeMarco Murray had already talked to Jeffrey Lurie, our owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, made it clear he didn't want to be here, kept talking down the fact that he didn't want to be here to try to, be a good sport about it, and I respect that. But he didn't do well here, which isn't too surprising given that when running backs have the kind of production he had in his last year in Dallas, they usually aren't quite as good the following season, so I thought of it as more of a long-haul decision to sign DeMarco Murray. Well, he was here for 1 year, so go figure. But he didn't want to be here for whatever reason. That's his right. Maybe he wanted to move back closer to home. I don't know. But losing him doesn't set the Eagles back at all, clearly. Byron Maxwell. There. Had to clear my throat. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Byron Maxwell and Kiko Alonso. Both may have been cut anyway. I don't see what the Eagles lost by trading off Byron Maxwell and Kiko Alonso. And in fact, the trade up from 13 to 8, I was amazed that the Miami Dolphins would go for that. I don't know what the Dolphins see in those two players, but you know what? I'll leave that to the Dolphins because, quite honestly, they both probably wouldn't have been on the roster anyway. So, in terms of players and not picks, what do we lose? We lost 3 guys. Bless them. Hope they do well in Tennessee and Miami. Nothing against them personally, of course. It's sports. It's not like that. But come on. They weren't working out here. Kiko, there were so many plays last year where, oh man, he just wasn't making the play. He wasn't in the picture. He wasn't making tackles. And, Byron, okay, I'd put him above that. He's a step above what Kiko was doing. I already talked about DeMarco, but again, we didn't lose that much in terms of players. So, in terms of picks, what did the Eagles give up? Number 8 pick. Well, okay, no big deal. Traded 2, give up 8. No problem. A 3rd round pick and a 4th round pick. Mid-round picks. You can often pick up some pretty good players in those rounds, but, when you're going for a franchise quarterback, that's life. And then I think where some people have said, oh, I just don't know about this, when they gave up a 1st round pick next year's draft, which we don't know yet, but next year's draft could be in Philadelphia. Imagine that. Imagine if the Eagles had the worst record in football next year, the draft's in Philadelphia, and the Eagles would have had the number 1 overall pick, but instead it belongs to Cleveland, who just won a basketball title. Congratulations to them. Whatever. Congratulations to them, though. That city really deserved a title. It's been too long. 52 years is too long to wait for a pro sports championship. I can imagine all the people in their 50s crying tears of joy to finally have a win. And the other draft pick the Eagles gave up was a second-round pick in 2018. And Cleveland also sent a fourth-round pick next year's draft back to the Eagles. Okay, so I'm just talking about the straight-up picks. I'm not going to talk about what the Browns did with the picks the Eagles traded to them. I'm not going to talk about what happened on draft day beyond the idea of giving up all this stuff for Carson Wentz. So that's all I'm focusing on. I'm not focusing on the players picked up otherwise. It's about these picks, the players given up that ultimately led to the ability to trade with Cleveland to make that selection. Do I think it was a good idea? Already said it. I was thrilled. I was ecstatic when I heard the news. I was checking the news. I knew the Eagles love Carson Wentz, so I was hoping so hard that the trade might happen. And when I saw it in the news, I just went, yeah. All right. So Carson Wentz's skill set, he's been compared to Ben Roethlisberger in terms of build and in terms of the way he'll take a hit and get back up and act like nothing ever happened. Yeah, Carson had the wrist injury. Well, I'm not sure what to say about that other than that I don't see evidence that it'll be a reoccurring thing. We'll see. Hopefully it won't be. He's also been compared to Joe Flacco, and every now and then a couple Brett Favre comparisons have also made their way into the fold here. What I've seen on film, I really like Carson's decision-making. North Dakota State, it's not quite a Division II school, so people have been saying it's Division II. It's not quite Division II, but it's not quite Division I. So he's not playing with the best talent in terms of, I'm not to put down the fine players at North Dakota State, but they're obviously not Alabama, you know? It's absolutely no offense to them. But he has played against some Division I schools, and he's looked good against them a lot of the time. In the championship moments, he stepped up, made big plays, won a championship on his feet, so to speak, toward the end of the game, ran one in. I saw that drive, and I loved watching it. He had a lot of poise, a lot of maturity. He looked like he belonged. But as people have noted, some of the throws Carson was making in college, if he tried to do some of those throws in the pros, he's going to get picked off. We know that Carson Wentz is extremely intelligent. From all reports, all accounts that we've heard, he's picking up the playbook really fast. No one questions Carson Wentz's mind. He's very mature, very intelligent, knows how to work with people. His teammates love him, coaches love him, you know. And from all accounts that we've heard, the time he spent in the quarterback room with the other quarterbacks, despite the drama concerning the Sam Bradford situation, and I do like Sam, by the way, things have been going okay. Now, I don't expect Carson to start week 1. I expect he'll start at some point in this season, somewhere in the middle. I think they'll introduce him. But if Sam plays really well, and they're in the playoff mix, will they keep Sam in? The answer is they might, and we don't know the full answer because this is Doug Peterson's first year as a head coach. So who knows? I don't know. No one knows for sure. It's not like there's a track record of him making decisions that you could point out and say, well, obviously as an offensive coordinator, he's made decisions. There's been a lot of controversy about the way he handled the Patriots game toward the end, but nevertheless, in terms of not moving the ball really fast, but as he pointed out, Jeremy Maclin wasn't exactly there in full health, so he couldn't move the ball as fast as they would have liked anyway. So we don't know when Carson's going to come in. But here's what I'll tell you. If you have a chance at a franchise quarterback and you like him and the Eagles love him, and I do too, you take that chance. You take the risk. You give up a lot and you do it. And some might say, well, the Browns didn't want him. So if the Browns didn't want him, why should we be confident that a quarterback the Browns didn't want is going to do well elsewhere? Well, I actually like what I read about the current Browns organization, like the new people there. their new GM, their new coach. I like what I read about them. I feel like they're turning a page. They needed a lot of picks. I know some people might disagree with this, but I think the Eagles are closer to being a playoff team than some people may think. I mean, the fact that they still managed to win several games last year despite having a lot of problems. And we could go up and down the list, but they had a lot of issues. And the fact that they won several games anyway, despite all the stuff going on with Chip Kelly, the offensive play calling not being where it needed to be, injuries and other things, they still managed to win several games last year. And I don't see any reason to believe that the NFC East has gotten that much better in the offseason. I don't see it. I mean, it's up to Tony Romo to be healthy. And for the Redskins, for those passes to continue not to be picked off, I think they had some luck last year with passes that could have been intercepted from Kirk Cousins not being intercepted. Yeah, he had a good season, and I'm not picking on the guy, but I think they had a little bit of luck there because the guy does tend to throw some balls that could easily be caught by the other team, depending on if the guy's anticipating it and his body isn't moving him elsewhere. Anyway, I like the trade. If the guy's going to be here and have a career like Donovan's or better, and Donovan had an excellent career here in Philadelphia, then this is a trade you make, and you don't think twice about it. A great quarterback, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be Peyton Manning, but what would you give up for Peyton Manning if he was just coming out of college? I'm assuming you would give up years' worth these kinds of draft picks, and you wouldn't think twice. So whether Carson Wentz ends up Peyton Manning or not, and there's only one of those, there aren't too many excellent quarterbacks out there. A lot of very good ones out there, but those special Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks, they don't show up in the draft every year. Well, in my opinion, you pull the plunger and you lay back and you smile, and I can't wait to see Carson Wentz perform.